What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. Look, I know that this Saints team is flawed in the red zone, but I will be damned if I don't give them credit for trying to figure it out. They're getting very creative. They're really starting to lean on the Taysom Hill package.
I was about to say, just take Derek Carr out.
Yes, no, I mean,
and that's what's worked well.
Legitimately.
Because he's really good from the 20 to the 20.
Yes, and he's not good in the red. And you know, we are firm believers in criticism when criticism's due and credit when credit is due. And Pete Carmichael deserves credit for getting very creative and taking his $35-40 million quarterback out in the red zone and being like, no, we got to commit to this resource that we have in Taysom Hill in the Kalen Saunders package. And now you're running Kalen Saunders on jet sweep fakes to get a lead outside. You're running Kalen Saunders just on normal lead blocks, which it was interesting to see the Texans on, or excuse me, the Texans. It was interesting to see them on one of them, Jake, try to blow it up by just submarining Saunders, which is probably actually the correct way to handle that instead of like trying to take him on.
I thought that was illegal. I thought you couldn't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought you couldn't do that anymore. I know you can't do it out in screens. I don't know if it's like an inside the box type situation where you can, but I know that if you do it on a screen now, it is a 15-yard penalty.
Okay.
Basically, they want you to take the Vlade Divac, take the charge.
Yeah. Well, they did not. That was it. But then again, credit to the Saints for being like, oh wait, we have Taysom Hill. He can throw it. You know, like he doesn't have to run it. So the red zone struggles are not solved, but you're doing a great job. And this was a big value of Taysom Hill game, boys. You know, somebody, I think it was Jeff Nowak, the Saints sideline reporter for WDL, tweeted this a couple weeks ago and said the best way to frame Taysom Hill's contract is through touchdown production. And I could maybe dig up the tweet. It might be kind of hard to find, but he just names other guys around the league who make similar amounts. And basically, like for his contract, Taysom Hill is very productive from a touchdown standpoint, which is massive. I still think Jamal Charles kind of has a lost role in all of this kind of because of it. But Jamal Charles, I did again.
I know. Jamal Williams.
But still, whatever. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Taysom Hill's been awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a role for all of those players. But, you know, Taysom, to me, it's never been a Taysom situation. It's been how you've used Taysom. It's not like he hadn't been able to get the job done. It's like you were just inconsistent with how you used him. Now it's like they've said, you know what? We are going to give ourselves over to him being the guy down there. And now they have a better idea. And you hear on the broadcast all these coaches being like, look, there's no comp. There's no comp for a guy like that. This is not a wildcat situation. This guy can make every throw in the route tree, right? Now, can he do that to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Probably not, but he can do it certainly well enough for us to stay up at night and have the cold sweats because of it. And all these coaches know that he is such a weapon because it truly is multiple things that you have to prepare for. And the Saints are finally doing a really good job of figuring out how to utilize, I think, Taysom Hill. And then, like, when you look at, I think Williams can be somebody that he's probably your best pass protector. So I do think he has a role on this team, but AK's just so valuable receiving the football. Like, even though he's struggling in pass protection, you just have to have his threat out there because he's dynamic. And so they got to find something if they want Williams to be a part of it, because now it's like short yardage is going to be Taysom Hill. Like, even though you're the best pass protector on the team, like AK's the best receiving back that we have. So I'm not really sure where his role is going to end up.
Now, Kendre Miller did get hurt, so maybe the value.
I mean, Jamal Williams started the game.
There. Yeah,
he got 2 carries, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mario?
Yeah, he got a couple carries.
Yeah,
he was in there a lot to block too.
So Taysom, though, he does end up setting an NFL record, right? He now has 10 touchdowns of each kind.
Yes. Yeah, the first since Frank Gifford.
Okay, so not the first.
Yeah, not the first.
Frank Gifford, who played in the 50s. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like as a receiver, like he has really improved. I mean, it is something where he is somebody you can count on catching the football. Like, just think about that. Like, a guy that was once your starting quarterback at this level is now somebody that you know can run, you know can throw, but now you can count on him as a receiver.
Well, it's one of those things where we talked about. It's like, oh, Taysom's going to be considered a tight end on the roster, how good he's going to be. It's gotten to the point now to where it's like, if Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau go down, you actually feel comfortable about Taysom being your every down tight end at this point. I mean, he's that good at catching the ball right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, blocking, is there challenges? Yeah, absolutely. But he's big enough to not fall into a tendency where he certainly he can block an outside backer. He can certainly get up on a safety on a corner because he's physical enough to do that as well.
I feel like, too, Jake, I'd like your insight on this. It feels like to me as a runner, Taysom Hill's kind of patience, when to explode, developing it is so far beyond where it was a couple of years ago.
Yes, it's no longer hitting the line of scrimmage with your hair on fire.
Yeah.
It is being patient. So when you're in that situation, like if you're going to run a gap scheme run, you can't just go try to hit the line as fast as you can. That's not what that play is. Because if you're running a power, you've got a puller in front of you. You've got to allow that puller who's 300-plus pounds to get out and decide, he's got to read it as well, too. So he's reading the blocking scheme. You have to read him off what he's reading. And so it does take time to develop. In a counter run, you've got multiple pullers. And so all of that is timing. And that's why you see Taysom now, he'll catch the football, he'll wait a tick, he'll step back, and then he'll go. That's what you have to do. And trust me when I say, you're like, well, yeah, shouldn't he do that? It is damn hard to do that. Like even as a running back, when my toes are at 7.5, remember his are at 5. That's a big difference as well because he's taking the snap at quarterback. So like as a running back, I have 2.5 more yards to be patient. He's got to catch the ball, and he's got 11 people with bad intentions, eyeballing him, and he's got to know that I still have to have the patience.
It's trust in your teammates.
Yes, to allow my puller to get out in front of me. He's got to read it because he might kick out. He might have a log block situation where he's got to go all the way around, and he's doing a really nice job of really being patient. Like T-Bob said, trusting his blockers, and it really feels like he is in a great sweet spot right now of what he should be and what he probably should have been for the last couple of years. But, for whatever reason, they didn't have that. And he had to play quarterback a little bit, so that kind of messed up probably some of his role.
He literally had to learn to do these things on an NFL level over the past 2-3 seasons or whatever. And at 33 years old, it's crazy that he remains appreciating in value where normally at this time, that's where you're supposed to start to physically deteriorate. But he's always been a physical freak. And that's really carrying him.
To Taylor's point real quick, him and Juwan Johnson, they had the same exact run blocking grade.
Wow.
That's something that you have to utilize. You have to use that as a weapon to break tendency.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.